Data released over the European session.
A real mixed bag today, and we start with German retail sales for June. The month-on-month figure came in at minus 2.3% against the forecast of plus 0.3% and the prior read of plus 0.4%. So something's gone wrong in the Kingdom of Germany there. Remember that one of the key tenets of what the ECB is trying to do is to stimulate the internal market in the Eurozone, and they're relying on the German consumer and others to drive that growth, but they won't be doing that on that reading. So slightly puzzling as to why it's dipped so much. Obviously retail sales can be a seasonal number, and perhaps we'll give them the benefit of the doubt and assume some seasonality there. Then we had French unemployment numbers for June, rate of 12.7%. Again, this will be disappointing to the ECB and to the French government because the forecast was for 12.3%, and the prior read was 12.5%. So unfortunately, unemployment's climbing again in France. And
it's a very bad rate, double what it should be.
Well, absolutely, yeah. I mean, it's still better than neighbours like Spain, but nonetheless, it's not good. The question, of course, is whether these levels of high unemployment in Europe are structural now, i.e., they're hardwired into the economy, or whether they will come down. We also had French consumer spending data for June. This again is a month-on-month figure. Rose 0.4%, again lower than the forecast rise of plus 0.6%, though better, it must be said, than the very poor plus 0.1% that we saw in May. Nonetheless, an undershoot of 30% in terms of the forecast there. Again, cause for concern, presumably for those in the Elysee Palace. And then a couple of Eurozone numbers, consumer price index for July data. So we're just going to focus here on several of these numbers, but we'll focus here on the core CPI number for July, the year-on-year read, plus 0.9%. That was actually ahead of the forecast of plus 0.8%, which in turn was equal to the prior read of plus 0.8%. So slightly better in terms of inflation in the Eurozone. Though, of course, we did see Spain slip back into a deflationary number last week. So it's a blended number, obviously, across the Eurozone. Still not exactly knocking the ball out of the park, but it is at least moving in the right direction. What isn't moving, though, and remains very static, is unemployment across the Eurozone as a whole. That figure for July came in at 11.1%. That was bang in line with the forecast, but it's also bang in line with the prior read. So a static employment picture in the Eurozone as a whole, notwithstanding the slightly higher numbers from France.